Okay, this is video 3 for the test on Chavav Adar Rishon. Okay, here we go. We're on Chena Amabet, and we're starting from Baham Maskilim. Right over Baham Maskilim. This is a pasuk in Sefer Daniel. Pasuk is up here. Maskilim Yisaru Kazor Hakia. Those that are full of seichel will shine like this, the zar, the shine of the rakia of the heavens. Matzikei rabim, those who do tzedek with the rabim, with the tzibur, kachachovim, they'll shine like the stars. They'll learn forevermore. So Gemara wants to understand who is this pasuk talking about, who the maskilim, who the matzikei rabim. So maskilim yasir kazar hakim, zed dayan shedantin emel amita. That's talking about a dayan who's fair and is able to come to a rightful, correct judgment. Who are these matzikei rabim tzedek with the rabim? Elu gabei tzedakah. Those gabei tzedakah who take the tzedakah from the rabim and are able to allocate it fairly. But in the Braita, we learned another possible explanation. V'maskilin yasir kazar arkia. Who are the maskilim? So it includes two groups. Dayan shedantin emel amita, as we said before, Dayan, the judges correctly. Digaba itztaka, and also gaba itztaka, because they are like Dayanim, as we learned before. They allocate the money as if they're a beit din. Umatzikei rabim k'kochavim yolam ve'ed. Who are the matzikei rabim? Elum lamdei tinakot. Those are the teachers of the children. Kagon. Goman, like whom? Who's this referring to? Who's an example of this matztikei harabin, this sort of melamed tinokot? Amarav, Gagon Rashmo Bar Shilat. For instance, Rashmo Bar Shilat. The Rav Ashkachen Rashmo Bar Shilat beginta. Rav found that Rashmo Bar Shilat was hanging out in the garden. Amalei, he said to him, Shavkatel Amnutach, you've left your chargers? Wait, the kids. Amalei, Hatlei Sashnin Telachazile. Vashtanami. You haven't seen me do this in like 13 years. I haven't taken a day off. And even now, I'm in the garden, I'm still thinking about them. V'Rabbanan, who are the rabbis compared to? If the Dayanim are here, the Maskilim, and the Menachbeti Kosher Rabban or the Matzikei Rabim, how about the rabbis? Amr Ravina. So Ravina takes a pasuk in Shefer Shoftim at the end of Shirat Torah, Ba'ohavav. The Ovav, those who love God, could say it's Hashemesh K'vurah, the brightest of all. It's like the sunrise, which is much brighter than the Zohar Arkia, and much brighter than the Kochavim. Tanu Rabbanan, Gabei Tzedakah ina Rashil Lefrosh Zem Yizeh. The Gabei Tzedakah should not go ahead and separate one from another when they are collecting tzedakah. Not because we don't trust them, but we don't want people to talk. Oh, he's by himself. Who knows what he's going to do with the money? One can go to the gate and one can go to the chanut because they were in eyesight of each other. So they didn't have to be mamash smudim right next to each other all the time, but within eyesight of each other. But this was more for public consumption that people shouldn't say. Matzamba o pashuk. And if the Gabbai Tzedakah was walking around and he sees a 100 shekel bill on the ground, and it's rightfully his because the Baal, the owners, gave up hope already. Lo yitnei b'toch yisai, shouldn't put it in his wallet. And notam b'toch arnikish sal sakai, should put it into the kupa, whatever it is that collects the tzedakah. He can take it. So in other words, it's really his. He has every right to put it in his pocket. He shouldn't do so publicly so people shouldn't talk. Similarly, if the name of the Gabbai Tzedakah is Ruvain and Shimon owns $100, 100 shekel, Uparav Shuk, and Shimon gives him 100 shekel and the shuk. He says, "Here, Ruvain, here's the money that I owe you." Ruvain should not put it in his pocket because people will say, look, he's putting the tzedakah money in his pockets. But rather he puts it in the wallet that belongs to the tzedakah. When he gets home, he can put 100 shekel into his own pocket. If they have extra money and they can't give it out to the aniyim, and so because no more aniyim, so they have these again the prutot, the smaller denominations of money were made out of copper, which was cheap, which would rust. And therefore, you needed to go ahead and exchange the money, and you go to a banker to exchange them. For Tim Lachirim, they should exchange it with somebody else. They shouldn't do it from their own money, because again, people are going to start saying, "Oh, you didn't give the right price, you're taking advantage, etc., etc." They should do it through an official money changer. They have extra food, and they don't know what to do with it. So you sell it to other people. Don't buy it yourself. People say, "Oh, you bought it for cheap." We don't want people talking. When you go ahead and somebody gives over tzedakah to gebet tzedakah, you shouldn't go ahead and count it 2 by 2, one by one, to make sure that there are no mistakes. Amar Abaye, Meresh at first, I'll have the Yotzev Mar at Sipi to Beit Knesset. I would not sit on the mats of the Beit Knesset, which they spread out. It was bought from the Kupat Tzedakah, and I thought they had no right to spend it on the mats of the Beit Knesset. It should be given to the Aniyim. But when I heard so I heard the Braita that says that the Bnei Yair have the right to go ahead and to use it for other purposes as well. Then I would sit down. I know they had the right to do it, and I wasn't sitting on something which was misappropriated. Amar Abaye, Meresh Havi Avim Mar Trei Kisi. At first, I would go ahead and have 2 separate kupot. One for the aniyim that came from the outside. Another one that could the aniyim of the city. But then I heard what Shmuel said to Avdicha bar Tavdini, Avid Chadkasa, because he said you can go to Shanazah, you can go ahead and use it for other purposes. And so all you got to do is have one kiss, and you can make a t'nai on it. That's the instructions that he gave him. You can make a t'nai that is for anybody. As I did the same thing. That everybody in the Sibur knows I can either give it to the Aniyim from the outside or the Aniyim of the city. And I have to separate it into 2 separate funds. Ravashi Amar, Ravashi said, I don't even have to make it tonight. The Chaltika Asi and Adati Tidi Asi. That everyone who's coming and giving money, they're giving it to me. That they're going to trust me, and therefore I can do what I want with it in terms of tzedakah. And whoever I want to, I can go ahead and I can give it to them. I give it to the aniyim of the outside, the aniyim of the city, etc., etc. From this point, I have to know how to read. Okay, from the 4th line, it said on Aleph. Hanu Beit Shrei Tabachi. There were 2 butchers, Da Abdi and Yana Bahade Azadi, that they made a deal between themselves. Whoever works on his friend's day, the friend has a right to go ahead and to rip his hides and to cost him money. So we said here they basically had this arrangement, which was not to the benefit of the people in the city, that in order to limit competition, one butcher would shecht on Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, the other one on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and they would never have competition between them. And to ensure this, they said, hey, somebody goes to somebody else's day, they have permission to go ahead and to come into my shop and to cause me a loss of money. One went of a biyom with the chavre, and he worked on his friend's day. He violated the agreement. The other guy came and said, okay, ripped his hides, cost the money. Also, the kami the Rava, he brought him in front of Rava for din Torah. He says, well, you cost me money. Rava says you got to pay. Even though they had a deal, you have to pay. So Gemara says, Eser Rav Yembo bar Shlami l'Rabba. So Rav Yembo bar Shlami says, what's going on over here? We learned in the previous Amud, we learned in the Chena Mabet, that the townspeople have a right to create deals and knasim, different sorts of fines if you do this or whatever. So here they made a deal between them. So why is it unenforceable? Lo ahadale Rava. And Rava didn't bother answering. Amar Papa says, Shapir avad lo ahadale midei. What Rava did that he did not answer was correct, because the question was out of place. Hani mili. When do we say the townspeople have a right to do it? When there's no other authority, people, it's just a Bnei Yair, there's no other authority to go to, then they have the authority to make these deals. But when there's an Adam Chashuv in the city, there's someone with the real authority, which apparently there was in that city, namely Rava. Love kolkum and they're not entrusted to make all these individual deals with each other, because it's not to the benefit of the townspeople that there should not be competition. And therefore, I don't like the deal. They never should have made the deal. They have no right to make the deal, and therefore the deal is unenforceable. So Rabbanan, Ein mechashim tzedakah im gabei tzedakah v'lo behekdesh im hagizbarim. That we don't go ahead and start and ask for complete transparency and to know where every dime was spent. From the gabei tzedakah, we have to have trust in him. And by the Gizbor, who was the treasurer of Hegdesh, somebody gave a donation to the Beit HaMikdash. We didn't need to have a whole Excel printout of where all the money went. Even though there's no proof that we have from the Tanakh that this should be, there's a hint to it. It says, don't go ahead and ask for an accounting of the people that took the money in order to pay the various contractors who actually did the shiputs, the shiputs. What shiputs in English? You know what shiputs is. Ki be'emunah hemosin. They have to be trusted. So we made mention. The Tosfot said, I think Ben Newman said it in class, is that this is only a ra'iyah devar. Why? Ra'iyah gemura'ina. This is not a real proof. Why? Tishani atam that there was different debates in Mikdash Yud Tzadikim Gemurim, because they really were perfect tzaddikim. But it's enough of a zeichel davar that we should learn to every gabbai tzedakah and every gizbar. Once you appoint them, trust them. Amar Rav Elazar, even if you have somebody who's a trustworthy treasurer, you saw view that when you give over money, you should go ahead and you should undo the bundle, and you should go ahead and you should count it. Shenamar vayatsuru vayimnu, because they're also by these very trustworthy people. Still, they counted out they went ahead and they counted out the money. Amar Rafuna, bokin the mizonot ve'im botkin l'chsut. You know what? That'll be the next video.